Welcome everybody. It is time for Sensei Chat. Yes, Sensei Chat 81 for the year. We are going to go over a ton of crypto news. I have Ripple updates, XRP updates, Swift updates, ISO updates.
It is time for Sensei
Let
Chat.
me
Yes,
mute
Sensei Chat
this.
81 for the year. We are going to go over a ton of crypto news.
My bad. So we're gonna go through, like I said, a ton of news. I got Bitcoin. I got economy news. It's just gonna have a lot of fun, guys. I got the CEO of Uphold talking about the Ripple partnership. I mean, there's just so much here for us to go through, and I'm really excited to get into all of this information with you. Let me just pull up my chat. Give me 1 second here. Obviously, there it is. All right, cool. What's up, JP? Good to see you, man. What's up, Natasha? Nataj. I messed that up. I do apologize. I am not the best with names. As you know, if you watch this channel, I butcher names all the time. Don't take any offense to it. I am just terrible at names. So let's take a look at the market real quick before we get started. And as you guys come in, feel free to hit the like button. We hit 100 people watching last week. It just made my heart so full of joy. So I wanted to thank everybody for showing up last week. I do really appreciate each and every one of you. Bitcoin's cooled off a little bit. We're down at about 34,700. We did kind of peak here just above 35,000. We're trying to get above, 38, 40,000 to really kick this party off. But, we're getting closer and closer each day here. I think people are becoming more bullish. I think money's coming back into the crypto space, and we are also going to talk about that. Look at this, XRP up 12% in the past 7 days. You'd love to see it. Ethereum's had a little bit of a bounce too, a 3% up. Stable coins are stable, which is great. No, I'm just kidding. ADA's had a nice little pump. I saw a lot of stuff happening around the ADA ecosystem. Solana, man, whoever, I know there's a lot of people in the Cryptonairz that got into Solana. I know JP, I know Keith Lay, they were all talking about Solana back when it was in mid-20s, and this thing really popped off, and you guys made over 100% return. So congratulations on that. Just taking a look at the rest of the market here. Polkadot's up 12%. Stellar's up 7%. All right, let's get into it. So I did want to tell you about a little bit about what I was doing. My friend JP went ahead and sent me a message out of Keith Lay's TA Discord about DSLA. I was actually in this project before the bull run started last year, and I actually took some nice profits in here. Cryptonairz, actually, we opened up shop like kind of right in this area. So I'd already kind of gotten into this. I don't really have any clips from Cryptonairz about this, but hopefully we're going to see a nice return. I mean, look at this. In the last bull run, this thing went to 0.23 cents. It would be nice to get back to that level or above that level. And, it looks like things have been heating up the past 7 days. So I jumped in. Honestly, I put about $1,800, $1,900 into it, about a $6 million market cap. So we'll check back in the upcoming months. This is a longer term play for me. This is not something I'm going to be getting in and out of very quickly. So just understand that I'm in this for at least the next 3 to 6 months. So just understand where that is. All right. I wanted to talk to you about some things that are happening inside of Cryptonairz. This is really amazing. On 8/9/2023, Rayon DeFi was talking about winter here. And we were getting into this project. Just take a look here in the last month. He posted this on 8/9/2023. Just in the last month, this thing's gone up over almost 100%. So just more wins in the community, which I'm very thankful for. Also a tour. This is one we talked about last week. Just check this out, guys. We got into a tour. When was this posted? 5/30/2023. 5/30/2023, right here is when this was posted. So from 26 to basically 150, this did a I don't know, 500-600x from 500-600% return, from where we got into it. So that is a great little bonus there. We also this is for perps. I just wanted to give you an update on perps. This is one of our challenges that we started last month, 10/6/2023. This is where we got into it. 10/6. This was posted October 2nd, October 3rd. That was reposted. So this is kind of right here into kind of the high of here. So it's about 219% gain. just in the last 35 to 40 days. So congratulations to everybody in the community that is making money. There is a link down in the description if you want to join our community. We have a lot of really amazing people, a lot of team members. We're all pulling together our information, our knowledge. You cannot do this alone in the space. It's always good to have a community. So more information in the description. Let's move on. Investors added more than 300 million to digital assets fund in the past week, guys. The money is starting to come in. That is what we need to be seeing. PayPal stablecoin efforts have affected the attention of the SEC in the latest sign of regulatory skepticism about crypto. I'm just glad they're not directing any more frustration or any more lawsuits to Ripple's way, because we are beat up and we are tired and we want this regulatory clarity and we want to be able to get Brad and Chris off. Hopefully they're going to, they've already had this meeting last week on the 2nd, I think it was, which was, what was that? Was that Thursday? Yeah, they had a meeting on Thursday. Hopefully the SEC decided what they want to do. Ripple probably knows they're not going to get away scot-free, so hopefully they agreed on a number, and we can see on the 9th, we can see actually a settlement. All right, so CEO Simon McLaughlin, great last name, opens up regarding the deal with Ripple. This is actually really great. Check this out. He's going to tell you the benefits, not just for Uphold, but he's going to tell you the benefits around why it's going to be beneficial for Ripple and XRP.
Recent development, which is a really exciting announcement that you guys made, Simon, about 2 weeks ago. In terms of your partnership with Ripple, right? Describe for us what you're going to do as a partner of Ripple on their on-demand liquidity system and what the benefits are that you're going to deliver to Ripple, as well as what the benefits are to Uphold for that partnership.
Yeah, that's a great starting point, Joe. So, I mean, for people who aren't familiar with Uphold, what we do is allow people, companies, and institutional investors to move value from fiat currencies into cryptocurrencies and then across different blockchain networks. And the Ripple partnership is very important to us. So we're going to become a node in Ripple's on-demand liquidity service. And their service basically streamlines international payments for big companies. Uphold's role in that will be to convert XRP into fiat currency, USD, pound sterling, and euros, and to handle bank payouts in Europe, UK, and the US. It's a really important deal for us, not just because of the direct benefit, but because it signals the strategic direction we want to take the company. This one deal has the potential to double our volumes next year, not our revenues, our volumes. But more importantly, it exposes us to recurring payment flows. And it plays to the utility use case of crypto, as opposed to the retail speculation case that crypto is perhaps best known for. The deal positions Uphold as an infrastructure component in international payments. And that's very much the direction we want to take Uphold. My goal is to get the company to a point where by the end of 2026, we generate the majority of our revenues from enterprise clients like Ripple. Now, most people know us as a retail app, and we're known for a super easy UX, a very wide choice of tokens, and retail is going to remain an important part of what we do. But our real superpower is really as a platform that can be used by enterprise clients to move fiat into crypto across different networks, and it can be used for payments in particular. And it's worth just digging in a little bit at the start, Joe, into our model and what makes us different. So,
long pause for drama.
We're effectively a prime broker, and we're the counterparty to every customer trade on the Uphold platform.
Okay, it's good to understand this, guys. What's the difference between an exchange and a brokerage? Because I had this conversation with somebody very recently, and they didn't understand it. This person was pretty new in the crypto space. So an exchange is like MEXC. KuCoin, BitTrue. This is where you're trading against somebody else. A brokerage is where, like Uphold, Coinbase, this is where these guys already have these tokens and they're using market makers and different liquidities and different things, but you're buying it from the brokerage and the brokerage takes a fee. So sometimes, depending on liquidity for the token that you're trading, it might be a better deal to trade that on an exchange. But if it's kind of harder to get and things like that, maybe the brokerage is the way to go. But usually a brokerage has higher fees. I wanted to just get that straight.
Now, we rebalance our reserve by doing trades at 30 underlying venues that include centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, and OTC brokers. So effectively, our pricing engine is listening to pricing right across the market.
That's pretty cool.
It identifies the best pricing in the market. We can see the quantities available at certain prices. We can uncover multiple paths to achieve best execution. We cover, for example, USD pairs, Euro pairs, Pound Sterling pairs, ETH pairs, wrapped ETH pairs, USDT pairs. So there are literally hundreds of paths to execute a trade. And if you look at why Ripple chose us, it's primarily for our ability in terms of being able to move large quantities of XRP
there you go.
into the market without moving the price.
Huge.
So it's all about our ability to price and trade to extremely narrow spreads. And the reason we're excited about this is it's payments. So it's recurring income, it's recurring flows, which is a much nicer business than the sort of very feast or famine nature of retail. And this is a poster child for the kind of deal that we want to do and how we want the platform to be used, because it generates potentially higher quality revenues. And we've got other similar deals in the platform. And the other thing that's significant from my point of view is it's an example of how we're plugging Uphold as a platform into a large installed user base. So the Uphold ODL platform already handles hundreds of millions of dollars of flow a year. So it's not like you're plugging into a startup and you're inheriting execution risk. So for us, it's a very exciting project. It goes live on a very tight time frame. Actually, we've got the first live trades due in December. So
first live trades due in December, guys, right behind all of this Swift and migration right to ISO. I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone that's here. JP, Natasaja, I butchered that. I do apologize. JR, great to see you. Joseph Cole, Ariana, great to see you as always, love. Thank you for being here. Jason, nice to see you. Green Llama, the legend. Michael, thank you for being here. Aeon, Wooter, Sheila, great to see you, Sheila. John Garcia, always a pleasure, my friend. Jason, again, nice to see you, man. All right. Cool. Let's get it. If you guys can hit the like button, it will help me get in front of more amazing people like you, and I would really appreciate it. This is Novati Group CEO, Director Peter Cook, partnership with Ripple and Stellar. Let's take a look.
In terms of partnering with Ripple and Stellar, I mean, they are two of the major networks. We've been able to work with them and be a major partner of theirs in Australia. And I think that goes to a lot of the success of Novati is that we can work with these global companies and bring through significant commercial deals.
So how do you see this impact on your revenues?
This is pretty cool.
Melissa, for the next year, at the least, we'll have revenues will be a number of the payments from Ripple and Stellar for their grant programs that ameliorate our tech build costs and some of our marketing costs.
So just really quickly, I wanted to touch base there because Ripple and Stellar are giving the Novati grants, which they're using to build out this technology, right? And they probably couldn't do all of this without them. So Ripple is investing, Stellar's investing into these companies to build out these infrastructures that they're going to need and want to use for international payments.
As we start to monetize later this year, then we'll start to get transaction fees from the stablecoin service as well.
Let's talk about...
All right, let's keep it going, my friends. Also, guys, if you love, Christmas is coming up, right? It's November. I got a ton of XRP. I got some XDC, some Bitcoin merch down in the description. I got these really cool mugs here. This one's obviously says Crypto Sensei. This one's for me. But if you like, XRP millionaire loading, I thought this was a fun one. We got some pretty cool things down in the description if you want to take a look. All right, let's keep it going. So this is from Mr. Man. Video conference with global central bankers. And the theme is all about global stablecoin. This gentleman in the video mentions Project Stella. It says, let's see which DLT mentioned global stablecoin in Project Stella, Ripple XRP. Check this out.
central bank-owned payment systems. So the underlying question is, can we move our own payment systems to DLT? So this is actually what it comes down to when you speak about wholesale CBDC. And we're exploring this. We've been exploring this since 2016 with the colleagues from Bank of Japan, Project Stellar. If you're interested, there are a couple of reports on our ECB website. And I think, even if we say from today's perspective, this is the standard response, from today's perspective, the technology is not yet ready for prime time because we offer the backbone of the financial sector, it's a large-scale application, but we also see many developments, it evolves very fast. So I think there's a lot of positive aspects to blockchain, and maybe it's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time, guys. I think we know that. That's why we're here. That's why we're learning. That's why we're growing in the space. It's very important. This is probably the most important time of your life. Having a kid, very important. Understanding what's going to happen in the future so you can position yourself to hopefully make a sizable return where you can, instead of working that 9-to-5 job that maybe you go to work and you don't love the people that you're working with. There's always that one person that tells very bad jokes and everybody has to do that weird laugh. You know, this is kind of setting you up so you can chase those passions, chase those things you love. Because at the end of the day, life is short and you want to be able to spend as much time with the family members that you love. Obviously, during Christmas, there's always those family members that show up and we're like, man, I don't want to be here. But, you know, there's a lot of people in your life that I'm sure that you love and that you would like to either help them or spend more time with them. That's what this whole thing is about, right? Trying to understand the future so you can position yourself. So Ripple, today we announced a partnership with the National Bank of Georgia, the NBG, on the digital lottery. Is it Larry? Lori? Is it Lori? I can't say it. All right, pilot project. The pilot will leverage Ripple's award-winning CBDC platform. All right, so let me go ahead and pull this up right here, and we can learn a little bit about this together, my friends. All right, the partnership will see the National Bank of Georgia and Ripple jointly plan an execution and delivery of a pilot program. Understand, this is just a test. This is just a pilot, but what happens before the final product comes in? You need to test it, right? And when you see a company like Ripple working with this many central banks, there's a lot of haters in the space that don't want to look at this information. They just put blinders on. They say XRP is never going to do anything. But realistically, who else is working with this many central banks? There's not another company on the planet that is working with this many central banks. The Ripple's stablecoin that was launched in Palau, that is on the public blockchain. That is a good test, not just for the United States, right? Because that's a digital dollar. They can see how it interacts in the economy, in the ecosystem, how people are using it. And that is very, very powerful information. The National Bank of Georgia has chosen Ripple, the leader in it's the leader, right? The leader in enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions, as the official technology partner for its digital lottery project pilot. The pilot will experiment with Ripple's CBDC technology and evaluate the practical use cases to gauge the potential benefits for the public sector, businesses, and retail users. Ripple's success following a competitive selection. So they went through, they looked at other technologies right here. That's what it says. So Ripple's success following a competitive selection process was announced by NBG earlier today. In this announcement, NBG explained that it chose Ripple to support its national digital currency pilot due to its deep understanding of the project's purposes and use cases, as well as its full commitment to the project's success, sustainability, business continuity, clear project development roadmap, and gradual deployment approach to use cases. Additionally, the MBG highlighted Ripple's experience in conducting real-life pilot project deployments ranging from preliminary CBDC digital infrastructure to smart contracts and tokenization, right? This is the word that is going to make us all, I don't want to say very wealthy because we don't give financial advice on this channel, but when you can tokenize value around you, right? It's this high prices are not going to come from me and you, all right? And I try to explain this the best way I can, but there's only so much money, like paper money, people's money and bank accounts in the world. Think about the stock market, think about the bond market, the equities market, the derivatives market, right? That's over $1 quadrillion in those markets. And when you digitize that value and bring it onto blockchains, that is where price discovery will come from. That is really where you're going to be like, holy shit, I'm glad I listened to Sensei. I'm glad I listened to these other channels. I'm glad I did the due diligence when I had the time, because if I didn't, I'd be buying in with the rest of the world at a much higher price. All right. Let's keep it going, because there's more stuff here, a lot more stuff to get to, guys. I have so much good information to go over with you. This is just some of Ripple's partners here. I think we know how big and impactful Ripple is. All right. You guys understand. You guys have been here a while. Okay, so another big piece of news. First, check us out. The DIFC champions Dubai as a global crypto hub with approval of XRP under its virtual assets regime. First, let's understand who this is, okay? So I asked my good friend Bard about the DIFC, and this is what Bard came up with. All right. The exact amount of money that moves through the Dubai International Finance Center is not publicly disclosed, but the DIFC is a leading global financial center with over 4,000 registered companies within its free zone. These companies include some of the world's largest banks, asset managers, insurance companies, and law firms. The DIFC also hosts a growing number of fintech innovation companies. The DIFC plays a vital role in the UAE's economy, contributing over 5% of Dubai's GDP in just this one area, which is crazy. A lot of the reason that people, businesses like to operate in this area is because of the taxes, right? Because they have, like, I think it's 0 taxes in this certain area. Due to the location, economy, regulatory class, and infrastructure, the DFS's commitment to innovation support fintech companies. Firms within the DIFC manage over $445 billion worth of assets. The DIFC is home to 17 of the top 20 banks in the world. The DIFC is home to 25 of the top 30 most systemically important banks in the world. All right, do you guys know about systemically important banks, right? Banks that are too big to fail. These are like your JP Morgans, things like that. The DIFC is home to top 5 out of 10 insurance companies in the world, and DIFC is home to the 5 of the top 10 asset manager companies in the world. Overall, the DIFC is a major hub from global finance. The amount of money that moves through is trillions of dollars, okay? And now our good friends over at Ripple have this. Check us out. Ripple, the leader in enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions, today announced that Dubai Financial Services Authority has approved the digital asset XRP for use within the Dubai International Finance Center. I see people giving hearts. I love it. I love it. It's probably JP just smashing on the heart button, but I love you, JP. Thank you so much. Guys, this is really, really big news. Please like the video so we can get this news in front of more people. Since the DFSA opened up to external applications, XRP is the first virtual asset to be approved by that regime. XRP joins BTC, Ethereum, and Litecoin as assets previously approved under the DFA's virtual asset regime. Now, that sentence doesn't make quite sense to me, because it says XRP is the first virtual asset to be approved by the regime, and then it goes on to say that the regime's already approved other assets. Maybe it's in this area. I think it's in the area. XRP stands to now benefit from legal and regulatory clarity in the DIFC, and it'll be available for use by institutions located in the DFIC to accelerate faster, more efficient global value of exchange. Bam. This is amazing news, guys. The UAE has become one of the most innovative jurisdictions intent in offering regulatory clarity and guidance for licensed firms of other virtual assets. The DFA's comprehensive regime for the DIFC is the independent regulator is committed to the long-term development of the crypto, payments, and fintech ecosystem within Dubai, as well as providing guidance for companies to set up shop in the free zone. Dubai has the VARA, which is the Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority, which was established last year to protect investors, maintain high levels of risk assurance, and facilitate innovation, guys. This is a big deal. Dubai's listing of XRP has the potential to unlock new regional payments and other virtual assets use cases on the XRP ledger. As a key builder and user of the XRP ledger, Ripple chose the DIFC as location for its MENA headquarters in 2020 for innovation and regulations, expands network, and reputation as a leading global finance center. Approximately 20% of Ripple's customers are based in MENA, guys. And now they have the regulatory clarity that they need to just go wild. The announcement comes as Ripple Swell, Ripple's flagship event, bringing together influential financial industry and regulatory voices, is set to be hosted in Dubai on November 8th and 9th, which is coming in 4 days, my friends. It follows previous successful events, which saw hundreds of Ripple's partners come together in major global financial centers, including London and Singapore. The DIFC's Chief Operating Officer, Ala Al-Zarani, will take the main stage, as will Vara's CEO, Henson Oster, alongside other national global thought leaders, decision makers, policymakers from the world's fintech companies. Man, who's excited about this news? I am over the freaking top moon excited. Here is Mr. Cook again talking about we're building a multi-chain network with Stellar and Ripple. Let me play this for you.
Making it a multi-chain solution, and we'll then shortly thereafter launch on the Ripple network. And then we are negotiating with a couple of other networks, Ethereum network. We will also go on to. There is a bit of an issue at the moment in what they call gas fees on the Ethereum network. It does bring the advantage of smart contracts, which are sort of nearly innately part of the Ethereum network. Stellar and Ripple are adding smart contracts to their network, so we'll get to them on their networks.
All right. And remember, guys, banks can't really use Ethereum's public chain because they don't know where those gas fees are going. This is why Ripple, XRP, Stellar, XLM, these are the top choices for these institutions. All right. We're not going to get too much into the weeds on this, but Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty on all 7 counts of criminal fraud. This guy faces 115 years in jail. I don't feel any pity for him. I feel bad for the people that lost money, that were... these people are never going to be made whole, and if you lost money, I do sincerely feel grief for you, but hey, 31-year-old, 2 Stanford legal scholars, graduate Massachusetts. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The guy's guilty. He took the stand and he blamed everybody else. He had no recollection of the last couple years of his life. I mean, this guy, it took the jury like 3 hours to convict this guy. So that's done. He will probably never see the light of day, but we'll have to see how that goes. Here is this is what's her name? God, she's top Democrat I think she's in the House. But this is Sam Bankman right here. I just wanted to show you this. Check this out. She's right here blowing him kisses. Check this out. Look at this. I love you, Sam. Thank you for the donation. I love you. I love you, Sam. Yeah. I think that all of these it was more Democrats than Republicans, but they both took money. I think all of these people should give their money back. Honestly, the money that they were given was actually customer funds, and everybody should return that money because that is the right thing to do. All right, let's get an update on the amendments for the AMM. Where do we stand, guys? Let's take a look. Let's see what's going on here. We did get some people to come over. We have 11 yays right now. Check this out. So BitTrue came over last week, and then we had some other ones come over. You got Ripple.com here, obviously. And some I don't know exactly who this is. EDU, so these may be schools, right? Athletes Art, Shadow, Hans, Berkeley, EDU. So they're in there negotiating. They're like, hey, you want some more grants for your college? You're going to need to vote yes, right? That probably didn't happen, but that's what I'm thinking in my head. So there's no end date for this, guys. This will go on until they have either 80% for 2 weeks straight, or the code is removed. The code's not going to be removed. So hopefully things are getting worked out. Validators are getting updated and more people come over. We need 28 out of 35 votes to see this thing happen. I wanted to give a shout out to BioFi. They are making huge headways, guys. They got some huge news coming out next week. I cannot say exactly what it is due to NDAs. I would love to just blurt it out, but that would be probably bad for my career. So they have this NFT collection with Cyberleet, Drone Industries, Small Frogs, and so it's the 4 of them. You're going to be able to do different racing and kind of have some fun. Let me show you this. know, guys, this is just one of their plays, right? The biggest thing that they have is this blockchain phone that's coming to Africa. It's going to be Southeast Asia, India, UAE. I might be doing some traveling next year for BioFi. I think that BioFi is very underrated going into 2024. I think as these phones start to get produced, start to be sold, I think you are going to see a lot more things happening in that ecosystem. With like 150K market cap, guys, I think there's a lot of growth for the BioFi token and the ecosystem. I do have a large holding. I've got about 60 million BioFi stake. Just to be totally transparent with you, I probably will earn anywhere from 12 to 15 million on that stake. I have it locked up until January, February, March, April, May of next year. So I'm in this for the long term. If you don't know anything about BioFi, reach out to me. I will get you updated. All right. Palau is the third largest growing economy in the world right now. Looking forward to discussing our ongoing fintech initiatives and plans for the future on November 16th, Palau Development Symposium. So this will be pretty cool. I'll be bringing some news in with this. And yes, physical mailing addresses and mail forwarding services will be covered. I'm not going to read this whole article to you guys, but a lot of things happening with Palau. And like I said, I think Palau is the staging ground for something much bigger. But hey, I'll let you decide what you think that's going to be. Let me go ahead and close that real quick. All right, so 801 XRP put this out, and guys, I just want to give a shout out to 801, Mr. Man, ISO, Let's Go. I want to give a shout out to Cypress Demonicore. All of these people, they really help bring news and information to a place that I can gather it pretty quickly. I can put it together. I can do these chats. I can update you at the same time on what's happening. I just want to give a shout out to them because without them, this would be a much harder job for me. I'm on my computer 12 hours a day, but still with them, it is a lot more helpful. So for Representative French Hill, examining the SEC's agenda, unintended consequences for U.S. capital markets and investors. The SEC Gov has lost credibility under Chair Gensler. He's lost respect on the Capitol. So he thought Gary Gensler came in. Gary Gensler, if you don't know, is the head of the SEC. He's the one that's continued the lawsuit against Ripple and other companies. He's getting just demolished. His reputation is shot. I don't know if this guy's going to be able to get a job at McDonald's after this unless he, maybe does some kind of shady things that Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton did. But who knows? Let me just play this for you. This is on Capitol Hill.
Gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Hill, who is also the chair of the Subcommittee on Digital Assets, for 5 minutes.
Thank Chair Wagner. Thank you and Chairman McHenry for your dedication to liquid capital markets that are orderly and investor protection and capital formation, and for bringing this panel to us to talk about the impact of the SEC's regulatory agenda on those goals. And from looking and listening today, I think the SEC under Chairman Gensler has lost credibility with a lot of market participants, issuers, investors, because of what Ms. Blass talked about, 61 rules dumped out on the market, ivory tower ideas without any analytic or statutory framework to support them. He's lost respect here on Capitol Hill on both sides of the aisle due to his flagrant just ignoring the statutory obligation of cost-benefit analysis that actually stands up to a cost-benefit analysis, and his flagrant shortening of comment periods, which time and time again, the members of this committee on both sides of the aisle have had to write and extend. And finally, having lost in the court of public opinion, now the chairman is losing in where it really hits his resume. He's losing in the federal court's opinion. Being accused of the commission of being arbitrary and capricious is not something I would want on my resume were I a staff lawyer at the SEC. And so I'd like to enter in the record today's Wall Street Journal editorial, Gary Gensler loses again.
You got to love it. All right. Somebody asked about XRPL clawbacks. Let me pull this up. All right. Let's learn about this together. Clawback is disabled by default. To use clawback, you must send an account set transaction to enable allow trust line clawback setting. An issuer with an existing tokens cannot enable clawback. You can enable allow trust line clawback if you currently if you completely empty owner directory. All right, hold on. So where is the definition? that is kind of what's called clawback. I believe is when you're actually taking back like a transaction. Like let's say you bought something on Amazon and it never got here and you need to get those funds back. That's clawback. The XRP ledger has created a token that is called the issuer. No, it's trust line. Clawback fields indicates the amount of being clawed back. That's basically what it is, as well as the counterparty from which the amount will be clawed back from. So that's exactly what it is. The quantity to claw back and the value subfield must not be zero. This is more than the current balance. The transaction claws back the entire balance. So part of being able to be used as a means of payment, you need to be able to take money back if something were to happen. Like let's say the goods never got there. Let's say you wrote a check to somebody, or let's say somebody took your checkbook, wrote a check to themselves, cashed it, and it was fraud. That money would need to be clawed back. That's really the description of what a clawback is. Okay, I hope that helps. I know somebody was just asking what it is, so I want to, Aeon, I hope that helps you, my friend. All right, let's keep it going. There's a lot more information to get to, and then here, let me just show you this clawback is, clawback is right here. They actually have 54% of the vote, and a few other things that are being looked at right now. I'm waiting for hooks, man. Where is hooks? And when will that come into play? I try to ask David Schwartz, but I'm not cool enough or big enough for him to respond to me, but it's all good. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan customers are reporting major issues and delay with their deposits and withdrawals. We saw this Truist, Bank of America, Chase, US Bank, Wells Fargo. They're all kind of down. They were down yesterday, direct deposit systems. People were like, where's my money? And this was not good, right? Because yesterday was payday for a lot of people. 900,000 people were kind of wondering where their money was, right? They have to pay their bills. The disruptions reportedly kicked off around 8 a.m. Eastern time. Wells Fargo has responded to the issue on social media in reply to their customers who said Wells Fargo direct deposit is officially a day late and customer service has no time frame when the money will come. WTF. All right. So I do think this has been rectified. This was a problem with the ECH system. And you had a lot of different news outlets talking about this. Several of America's largest banks are facing a flood of complaints about issues and account balances with direct deposits. Customers at JP Morgan Chase, blah, 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 all these different banks are not showing up. Although the banks are releasing individual statements in the issue, Federal Reserve says a processing issue at the National Network for Processing Automated Clearing. This can happen, right? This is a major problem, and it kind of shows you the problems with the current banking system. And this is why countries around the world are trying to, I don't want to use the word rush, but they've accelerated their development of central bank digital currency because they don't want issues like this, right? Imagine what quantum computers will do to the current financial system, right? If a bad actor got themselves, they got their hands on a quantum computer, how much damage could they do? I would think a lot. This is from Dagnum PI. Blockchain is mission critical. DAG, DOD, Biden signs an executive order on AI at the Department of Defense. Just released new data analytics and AI adoption strategy. Spend more than $1.8 billion in AI machine learning capabilities alone over the coming fiscal year. I do think this is a good thing, right? AI can bring a lot of new innovations. It's good and it's bad, right? There are going to be bad actors that use AI to develop all kinds of really bad, strains of illnesses and different things, but there's going to be a lot of it used for good. I know the Department of Defense and these guys, they're going to be using this, for drone technology. They already are using it for drone technology, right? And that's really the future when you're going to have a fighter pilot have, 4 or 5 different drone planes around them. I would not want to face off against the United States or some of these other countries that are just leading the way in this. World map, real-time payment system settlers. Let me just show you. This is kind of cool. We're going to talk about the PAP system in Africa here in a little bit. I'm going to show you some connections back to Ripple on that. These are some connections for FedNow, Finastra, ACI, Worldwide, Trangolo, RippleNet, also Volante, FedNow payment system. Here you have the ACI, Finastra, Volante. You have ACI down here, headquartered in Florida. You have the PIC system in Brazil. I just thought this was a really cool visual for everyone to take a look at. And then here is kind of your Target, which is a big payment system inside of the UK. You also have CHAPS. SIA is in Iceland and Norway. And then here is your SEPA, which was what was postponed. There's 2 countries inside of the European Union that were not ready for the SEPA payments, so that's why it was pushed back. This is Switzerland, I think, Sweden, right? SDX. All right. And then here's the other side of the world. I just thought this was a really cool, fun visual, right? So you can see how many countries and how many payment areas are moving forward with instant payments, right? This is exciting news because we know that crypto can be used in these situations. All right. So you got So you have Khalid Al-Basis, Director of Financial Sector Development, Saudi Central Bank. In the payment space, hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have the framework that we're expecting payment information by early next year. Some countries have adopted a centralized approach. We have decided to make it decentralized. Check this out. This is pretty cool.
Framework. So the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia decided to implement the open banking framework. So what are your considerations and objectives for such a framework, and how do you achieve those objectives?
Thank you, Hakan, and I would like to thank Hong Kong FinTech Week for their hospitality today and the invitation. We started our journey in Saudi Central Bank in 2019 when we embarked on open banking, who owns the data. And
we've got 94 people watching. If you guys can hit the like button. Oh, we hit 15K. Thank you so much. I'll let you get back to this, but I love you all. Oh, we're at 100. We just need 7 more to push this over to the max, and we're going to break another record here live on the chat. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
You know, what other activities that fintechs and banks and financial institutions can do with the open bank. So we started in 2019. We came up last year with our open banking framework for account information. And this year we'll come up with the second framework for payment information. So that's where we started. We opened up our sandbox, regulatory sandbox, also last year for fintechs to come and operate. So we had different fintechs doing personal finance management, doing enterprise finance management, infrastructure, alternative credit, really a very progressive and different use cases each and every single fintech is doing, as well as banks. Banks also have leveraged on this framework, and they created their own open banking teams, departments, trying to leverage and monetize and utilize the framework. And the framework is really not just about standards. So we have an API standards where how data is being exchanged between the market participants when it comes to open banking, but also about standardization of a consent management, the privacy, the cybersecurity, the entire controls really end to end. And it's regulatory driven. So all market participants have to comply. So that's really how we see open banking. It's really an opportunity to innovate, create new use cases, leverage on our central bank framework, standardized, regulatory driven. And we've seen really a tremendous amount of market participants, different use cases. And in the payment space, hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have the framework. And we're expecting some use cases when it comes to payment information by early next year. And that also will add to the payment infrastructures we have in place in Saudi Arabia, whether it's a card rail or it's an RTGS payment rails.
Real-time gross settlement.
Thank you very much. Before I move on to Esther, just quickly, is it a centralized or decentralized approach in Saudi Arabia?
Good question.
Give some background why?
Sure. So I think some countries have adopted a centralized approach where they build the APIs and the interfaces in a single entity, legal entity that exchange data between the market participants. We have decided to make it decentralized, where players exchange data between themselves without a central entity in between. And our thinking was more of innovations. If you standardize it and you introduce another player, it will probably reduce the innovations and the ability to exchange new premium APIs, new type of use cases. So we decided that the market participants will exchange data between each other. At least they can apply for the standard API framework, but they're also open for additional use cases that's really outside of the framework.
Okay, Moon Boom just asked a great question. He says, what's he or she, I don't know if it's a he or she, excuse me, what's a good staking sites for XLM and XRP? So XRP is consensus protocol. It's not proof of stake. So any place that you're going to find quote unquote staking isn't actually real staking, right? It's not like staking on the mainnet. So these places are probably going to be most likely exchanges. Just understand, if you're locking your crypto up on an exchange, be very careful. Not your keys, not your crypto. If something were to happen with that exchange, your XRP's locked up, you could lose that XRP. I don't know as far as XLM. XLM's the same situation. Sorry, I thought you said XCC, but XLM's the same situation. You're not going to have staking with those projects. So just be very careful. You're going to see the word staking, but understand in the background, it's not really staking. I do think as AMMs come into play, you're going to find new use cases to build, I don't want to say build wealth, but you're going to find new use cases around the token to make money, I guess you would say. But once AMMs come into play, we'll do a Sensei chat. We'll go through it together. We'll find out different ways how we can do this. But until that happens, there's really not a ton of information that I can give you or direct you to. All right, what's next for payments? US Bank tells us transparency is key to customer-driven payments and innovation. You don't say. All right, 30-second clip. Let's get through this.
It's an incredibly exciting time to be in payments overall. And US historically has been a economy that is driven by checks, ACH, and paper. And all of that really changed in 2015 when Fed issued a white paper talking about payment modernization. And since then, we have seen the emergence of many new rails.
Wish it was a longer clip, but banks are very focused on what the customer wants, right? I've talked about this in the past, but I'll go through it really quickly. Imagine you're a bank right now, and you are working on fintech solutions because you know your customers are going to want instant payments, instant settlement. They're going to want to find different use cases inside of the bank to do all this, right? The Hong Kong pilot, the EHKD pilot on HELOCs, that is a great example. Imagine you're a bank that has that capability where you can loan a customer money that they need. They're requesting this secondary loan to pay for college or to pay for home upgrades, whatever the case is, the customer wants it, right? And so if you put weeks or months of roadblocks and different things that take the customer time to go through, if you're a bank that has this solution, customers are going to migrate from the bank that doesn't have these solutions to the bank that does have the solutions, because at the end of the day, it's the customer's money and they're going to decide where they want to keep it. They're going to want to keep it at the place that has all of this new innovation, if that makes sense to you. U.S. Department of Defense Deputy Secretary and Defense Kathleen Hicks announced publication of data analytics AI adoption, right? Constellation DAG does have some of these partnerships with the Department of Defense. A lot of things happening: drone and mesh networks, mobility, ground and infrastructure, edge procurement using crypto, right? Satellite securely communications, command control. There's so many cool use cases that are being built out right now. Obviously, we don't know all of them, but Constellation is at the key for all of that stuff. So definitely want to put that on your radar. Now, this was an interesting comment made by, what is the guy of is it MoneyGram? Is it Money? I think it's MoneyGram, I think. So he's the CEO. Let's listen to this and we'll talk about it.
Do you think Ripple could make a comeback?
This is at Stellar's event that they just had.
There's a lot of FX volatility in that stuff. It's probably the single biggest challenge that we had, using that was we were trying to look at cross-border use cases, and you go from, US dollar to a peso like we do today. You got to buy pesos. You have to play pesos into the market. There's an FX cost to that. Well, you think when you go into the crypto world, you could eliminate the FX cost. The reality is you can't, because that coin's moving around in value. So it didn't really solve for anything, and actually it added a third element, because now you're going a dollar to a currency to another currency. So now you're doing like 2 foreign exchange trades instead of 1. So it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So, I won't comment on, what else they're doing or where they're going to go, because, it's a lovely company.
It's a lovely company, I guess. So my question is this. You're working with Stellar. What's the difference, right? They're using USDT on Stellar. That's what the use cases that they're using now, right? So let's get that clear. You're going to have the same volatility with the XLM token as you has the XRP token. So this guy kind of talking shit about XRP and Ripple. Yeah, this was what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? things have gotten a lot better since then, but there's still a lot of volatility in the market. But it's the same problem. It's the same problem, and he's taken jabs on the stage here at Ripple, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So I don't use Western Union. I never will, because of kind of these type of people that are leading it. He didn't have to take those shots. I just don't love it. All right, boom. FedNow, November 2023. The financial landscape is set for a systemic shift as FedNow gears up for the grand entrance, right? Is FedNow payment system, FedWire funds. FedWire, guys, that is where all the money is, right? I've shown this before. FedWire daily volumes. If you're new to the channel, you've probably have not seen this, but I like to show you facts and information here on this channel because that is what we need to work with. All right, so here is September 2023, okay? This is average daily value transfers in the millions. 4.2 million, 4.2 million is 4.2 trillion a day, okay? So that's what we're talking about here, right? That is a lot of money being moved. God, there's so much more I have to get to. Okay, here we go. So ISO 20222 expecting the fully transition by November of 2023 to step along with 70 plus other participating countries. 70 plus other participating countries. See, this is where a lot of people think that once this launches, you have the big bang moment where, you know, liquidity is needed, XRP is needed, and this is kind of where you have, you know, half of the market is like, hey, we're using factual based information, we're trying to see where this goes. The other half saying, you know, we're going to have this big explosion moment. I think it's going to be a slow rollout, to be honest with you. I just don't think you wake up on the 20th and you're just using crypto for everything. I think it's going to be a dip the toe in the water type of thing. As you dip your toe in, you start to get your foot in, your leg in, your body in, and so on, right? ISO standard will navigate 87% of worldwide transaction in value in the next 5 years. So yeah, it is going to take some time. Okay, so just understand that. Get that champagne ready, though. You never know when this will pop off. But this is saying U.S. FedWire and FedNow services, the deadline is the end of November. Okay, so that's really great information to see. It's great information to know. Some major payment infrastructures that are upgrading in November 2023 include EBA clearing, RT1, Step 2, SEPA, right? We know SEPA has been delayed. Federal Reserve will develop a new interbank real-time gross settlement system, FedNow, and so on. All right, let's keep it going. So Zach Rector had a comment here about HSBC becomes the first tokenized gold. He's talking about this article that came out. HSBC adds fuel to tokenization fire with gold-focused offering. Let me go ahead and play his 1 minute 45-second clip.
Now, most of the time you're used to me holding up my little silver coins. We have a lot of fun doing that, but I also am now a proud owner of some gold, as one of our community members was so kind to send me some Utah gold backs. And that is the topic of today's video. We're going to be talking about HSBC being the first bank in the world to offer tokenized gold. Now, what's interesting is looking at the connections with Ripple and HSBC going back years. You know, we talk about the all-star team that's been assembled at Ripple. Stuart Alderati, Chief Legal Officer. He actually served for 6 years at HSBC before coming to Ripple. And then we have Chris Larson, the Executive Chairman. He's been serving on the Technology Advisory Board for the past few years at HSBC. And then HSBC in their own white papers is touting XRP as a game changer for cross-border payments. So we continue to see Ripple playing their role in helping banks around the world to tokenize gold and much more. As yesterday, we had the 6th CBDC announcement coming out, the National Bank of Georgia choosing Ripple. And
all right, we already talked about that, so I won't waste your time with any more of that, but check us out. London-based financial giant HSBC is trying its hand at gold tokenization. I do actually have a partnership with Glint coming up too, guys. I'm going to talk to you about that probably next Sensei chat. But I just did buy some gold through Glint, and I actually kind of like the platform. The bank launched tokenization ownership of physical gold held in its London vault on Wednesday, noting that its use of distributed ledger technology to trade assets. The approach generates a promised digital representation of clients' physical gold holdings, the company said in a news release. One token of HSBC's gold tokenization platform is equivalent to 0.001 troy ounce. Tokenized physical gold can be traded between HSBC and institutional investors through HSBC Evolve platform. HSBC is not being used, HSBC is not new to using blockchain. The company teamed up with Wells Fargo in December 2021 to use a shared settlement ledger to process transactions in US dollars and Canadian dollars, euros, British pound sterling. It revealed its intention in November of 2022 to launch tokenized platform HSBC Orion. So the reason this is a big deal, guys, is because this is really the start of it, right? Tokenize gold, you tokenize silver, you tokenize other rare earth materials. There's a lot of value in that. You tokenize, stocks, bonds, etc. But really kind of tokenizing this is the first. Gold is heavy. It is hard to transport, right? Especially if you're buying lots of it. So this digital version of gold really does make sense. So countries, people can buy and transfer gold in a very quick process. You're seeing a lot of this stuff too, guys, on Twitter. This is actually, I think, pulled from Crypto Geek's Twitter, where he's talking about Biden is going to give some announcement giving XRP the green light. Guys, just understand that I don't even think President Biden knows what XRP is. I can't tell you 100% sure, but he's sure as shit not going to come out and say that the country is going to be using XRP, because that would just be that would cause a hysteria. Understand, the U.S. doesn't have crypto regulations. So why would the president come out and tell the world that they're using crypto? Like it just, if you think about it logically, it doesn't make sense. But Fed prepares for world launch of XRP 2023. XRP is given the value of $17,000. I would love to be wrong about this and wake up and have my XRP worth this, but I just think it is it's a fantasy right now. Let's keep it going. Tau, right? We've been talking about Tau and Cryptonairz for like a year. This has just been popping off. Google searches for BitTensor Tau are going parabolic. We are witnessing the next biggest crypto entering the scene. Let me just show you this really quickly. Tau. God, we were talking about this a long time ago. Let me go all here. So right now, Tau's at $96. I think we were talking about Tau kind of back here in this range, and we've been posting about it since. So if you got in kind of half the price down in here, you're doing pretty well, up a couple 100%. But Tau's at $95 right now. Very low supply of Tau. Max supply is same as Bitcoin here. Circulating supply is very low. That is why you're seeing such a crazy price for it right now. Now the question is, do you buy Tau or do you buy QNT, right? Because they're the same price pretty much. So that's something that I kind of grapple with in my head when I'm looking at different cryptos that I'm buying. All right, let's keep it going. This is from the Bank of International Settlements. Did you know regulatory co-host 2023 Digital FinTech Week on 6th to the 9th of November. Tune in to hear from Augustin Carlson's. Look at this, right? You have Brad Garlinghouse and you have Gary Gensler on the same freaking thing right here, right? This guy is kind of a douche. I don't really like Mike Novogratz. He was a part of, Ethereum. He did some shady stuff too. I don't love this guy. But Michael Barr, he's the vice chairman supervision of the banking system in the United States. This gentleman actually worked, I think he was an advisor at Ripple for some time. So just interesting to see these two guys on the same kind of situation. I don't want to show you that. So Ripple hits another milestone. National Bank of Georgia. These are kind of what's announced. Palau, Hong Kong Monetary Authority, Montenegro, Colombia, Bhutan, Georgia. I'm going to get in some African connections here too, guys. Let me show you this really quickly. This is actually an older clip. This gentleman actually used to work for Swift, and he does talk about XRP right here. So I like to kind of bring up some things in the past. Let me play this for you really quickly.
Swift is the preeminent messaging system for the financial industry, which covers, say, payments, FX, trade, in terms of securities, etc., Nostra reconciliations, etc. What we're looking with the crypto, though, is where Swift would have a store and forward system for most of its payment transactions, where you need service level agreements that in a certain time I will do something, the payment turns up at a certain time during the day. Here we're looking at the new network styles, which allow instant, real-time movement of the funds and visibility of those funds as well. So we would not have a situation where banks need to come back to you and say, have my funds arrived, it's 3 days later, I need to find out or find query messages moving around the network. There's nothing like that. I don't believe Ripple is going to replace Swift. Ripple is one of the complementary networks, which is going to allow those institutions who need real time to make use of that. And I think we're also seeing that Swift are changing their network capability, so that real time will be a possibility as well. But we may also see Ripple XRP moving across the SWIFT network as a currency when we're perhaps using something like FX.
FX is $6 to $7 trillion a day. All right, check this out. 11 African central banks join Afrexim Bank's Continental Payment System, PAPS. This was actually yesterday's news, so bringing it hot off the press here for you. Let me just kind of read the subsection here. The Africa Export-Import Bank has incorporated 11 African central banks into its leading Pan-African payment and settlement system. PAPS offers an alternative in which participants can conduct transactions in their currencies, eliminating the necessity for third-party currencies such as the US dollar. The payment system is one of the bank's efforts to reduce expenses and streamline trade in the region. So I just want to show you this. If you look up PAPS, right, and you kind of go, here's their website, okay? Here's their connecting payments, accelerating Africa's trade, transforming payments, how the payments are made across Africa, right? I just think these are some interesting image. Instant payments, simplified payments, Pan-African payments, right? Sender, receiver. This kind of looks like they're using something like XRP. But let me just show you this. Check this out. So if you click network and you click participants here, this actually pulls up a whole list. So I've done a video on Buna, which is right... Where's Buna? Buna's right here. I've shown you the connections inside Buna, right? And I showed you some possible Ripple central banks that haven't been announced yet that are connected to the system. But there's also MFS Africa, who just changed their name. Strategic Partnerships. This is actually an XRP-based client. I think this is either Ripple partnered with them or bought them out, but Anifrik, I can't say it, sorry. Previously, MFS Africa. This is a Ripple company. 500 million connected wallets, 1,300 cross-border payment corridors, 180 MNOs, MTOs, and banks connected, 300K enterprise and merchant connections, 40 nations in Africa. So dLocal, another one, right? You got Alipay as well connected to all this. So just interesting connections that are happening in Africa around instant payments, but you definitely can use XRP in this ecosystem. There's probably some other banks in here that are connected that I just can't think of at the top of my head. You have Standard Charter in here, which is also a Ripple partner. And these are some different switches, and then these are the central banks that are connected into this too. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw some of these other central banks announcing that they're working with Ripple in the future in 2024. Just keep your eyes out for these. Now for Buna, you can actually pull up, if you go in here, I did a whole video on this, so I'm not going to break this all down for you. I did it in that video, but there is, connections, and they're talking about it. But if you go into their resources and you go reference documents, and you actually pull up the 2022 report here, they have an annual report, Buna annual report. You can download this report, and actually you can go through it and see some of the connections. Let me just show you this real quick since we're here. Let me just scroll down and I'll show you this real quick since we're here. Okay, so you scroll down. There's a lot of really good information in this too that I'm kind of bypassing. Here's all the banks that are connected to this. Okay, so just check this out. You have Algeria, you have Jordan, Bahrain, Egypt, Lebanon, KSA, Mauritania, Morocco, Iraq, Oman, Tunisia, and the UAE, right? And there's a lot of these banks in here that are Ripple partners as well. So I do think you might see some of these central banks announce in 2024 that they're working with Ripple. We'll have to see. But it's very interesting to kind of go through this whole document. And if you just kind of go through my videos and look for the Buna video, I have all of those great connections for you, okay? Let's keep going. XDC networks, ecosystem, trajectory, WADS pay, VAR approval. So there's a bunch of different things in here. Let me just show you this. XDC network ecosystem is at the heart of a transformative shift in the landscape of digital finance, and its recent achievements and innovations are set to redefine the financial technology sector. At the forefront of this innovation is Impel, a fintech innovator within the XDC ecosystem, harnessing blockchain technology to revolutionize financial messaging, ISO 20022 compliance, instant settlement, and facilitating collaboration with R3 Corda platform. Impel's pivotal role within the ecosystem is driving adoption and the cutting-edge solutions in the world of financial technology. XDC ecosystem's journey toward prominence is marked by significant milestones, with WadsPay, a prominent player in digital payments, securing initial approval from Dubai's Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. This achievement is a critical step in WadsPay's pursuit of virtual asset service providers license, with ramifications extending to the entire XDC ecosystem. So it's really cool to see these guys working together. Let me just show you WadsPay. If you don't know, WadsPay is this, WTK. And let me just show you this real quick, because we were actually talking about WadsPay when it's basically 1.5 cents in this, like in this area, right? 1.5 cents, like right in here. Right here is kind of where we were talking about WadsPay in Cryptonairz. So if you got in, you're up, 200% since that time. So congratulations. Just more information, guys. When you have a community and you have a team that is all sharing crypto information together, that's a very, very powerful thing. Very powerful. So now payments. Are you in iGaming business looking to level up your payment system? Here are 5 compelling reasons why XDC payments should be on your radar: faster transactions, lower fees, enhanced security, global accessibility, and seamless integration. I don't really need to read all of that to you, but it's good to see XDC trying to go after the gamers. That is a huge industry. IBM is involved on the right side of DLT. IBM is involved with Quant, building the TC307 plus SATP. HBAR governance member plus director board. Casper Labs, we've talked about them a lot. X permission swaps, AI with Watson X. XLM network of WorldWire payments, and SHX also used in WorldWire payments. So IBM is at the forefront of all this DLT adoption. Cybersymonic put this out. It's not a conspiracy theory. It is happening. You will be a part of this massive transfer of wealth. XRP, XLM, XCC, HBAR, Quant. We know certain utility assets will coexist within the CBDC in the future. Literally, it's in front of your eyes if you take a look. Let me just zoom this out. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's been planned and implemented. It's in plain sight. It says Patrick Shuffle, let this sink in. Economist and former head of the International Monetary Fund's China division, Eswar Prasad, openly describes what he considers the benefits of CBDCs at the World Economic Forum meeting. He's talking about programmability, expiring money, and government control, right? Government's going to want control over their ecosystem and their value. They can create money and burn money really quickly with CBDCs. It'll be a little bit easier for central banks to do all this. Coinbase short sellers lose $2.2 billion as Bitcoin ETF euphoria reaches fever pitch. So these were people betting against Coinbase. Coinbase had an earnings report that came out. They thought it was going to go down, and it rose 2.7 despite the company's reporting third quarter earnings late Tuesday. So man, just people getting wrecked out here trying to bet against Coinbase. So we'll have to see how all of this pans out. But a lot of people have less money today because they went the opposite way on Coinbase. IBM X Casper advances with AI. IBM's building beyond X permission swaps with Casper, which also enable projects like IPWE. They are digitizing patents, right? There's trillions of dollars of value in these patents when this is all digital brought on. This is just a good representation of kind of how all that is going. This photo is so good with this guy. This guy looks like he should belong in like a Addams Family video. Like he's like one of the distant cousins. I don't know. I just thought that was a great photo. All right. XRP train has left the station. I know we've heard this a lot, but just want to give you this update. Take a look at this monthly time frame chart. XRP is on a strong upward trend and comfortably trading above the 21 EMA, indicating robust bullish momentum. We're setting our sights on some exciting milestones, 80 cents to $1.30 just around the corner. So here is kind of his breakdown. I'd love to see it. I just love to see us get back over $1. I think if we can break, 70, 80 cents, we'll be on a nice little ride here up. There's another failed bank information for Citizens Bank, Sac City, Iowa. On Friday, November 3rd, 2023, Citizens Bank was closed by the Iowa Division of Banking. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation was named as the receiver. So another bank failing in America. And hey, a lot of banks are going to be failing. This is not going to be the last one, guys, but this is the 6th bank in the U.S. this year. I just wanted to show this one more time because there are a lot of confused people in my comments on my YouTube videos. Migration of SEPA payment schemes to 2019 version. ISO postponed Sunday, March 17th. This is just SEPA, guys. So just understand that, please. Let me keep going here. We talked a little bit about that. John Dean put this out. It says, I've said this for more than 3 years. Ripple is not going to abandon XRP, and it has a fiduciary duty not to. Do the math. So 2015 had a Series A of 128 million evaluation. 2016, 410 million. 2020, they had a valuation of $10 billion. 2022, Ripple's valuation, buyback valuation of 15 billion. I just think this is going to get bigger and bigger. Ripple's pre-IPO shares clearly trade at a valuation significantly less than 15 billion. Owning 48 billion to 50 billion XRP makes it insane to abandon XRP, which is true. Let me just, I don't know why this didn't update. I do apologize. Give me 1 second. We're kind of getting towards the end of here, guys. I know you guys have been here for a little bit of time. Let's go ahead and get through the rest of this information. Ripple and China. Ripple, rather than being concerned about whether the potential reach of China's CBDC, the ERMB, and the implications it could have on the country's dominance over the world's financial system, ISO 20022 should be, in theory, ensure the level playing field remains level. However, one crypto that could benefit is XRP, the currency used in the blockchain-based payment system Ripple. This one, cryptocurrency, will be compliant with ISO, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the rest, okay? And this is talking a little bit more about that. In forging ahead with central bank digital currency, the People's Bank of China may also render companies like Ripple, which uses blockchain to facilitate cross-border transactions, redundant intermediaries for exchanges in renminbi. And this also says the Shanghai Hurai Bank recently announced that is working with a remittance product from Ripple. So Ripple does have ties into China, guys. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. Ripple DZ Bank, right? Another bank talking about, working with Ripple. This is talking about SEPA, Ripple Interledger Protocol. So you actually have this bank putting out documents that has it in there, which is pretty cool to see. FedNow, DLT, ISO 20022 crypto is confirmed. We kind of know this. DLT platforms are integrated within the traditional non-DLT FMIs. FedNow for payment and settlement. And then just more stuff about FedNow launching. We did kind of talk about this a little bit earlier on in the chat, so I don't really want to beat the drum too much. But we're also introducing data improvements related to ISO and standardization procedure that will maintain our interoperability in fintech, traditional finance, and crypto spaces. It says, but we partner with several DLTs, which makes ISO 20022 essential for our operations. Excuse me. Stronghold will also be preparing for FedNow when it is tentatively launches in July. Let me just keep going here. FedNow runs on FedLine, which is based on TCP/IP. FedNow will run on Fed's FedLine. That's a lot of F's really quickly. An IP-based networking messaging system that currently provides payment and information services to more than 10,000 financial institutions. This is TCP Internet Protocol, communications protocol utilizing port 80, blah, blah, blah. The Federal Reserve banks cannot provide any setup or configuration assistance to troubleshoot network access issues when using non-Federal Reserve bank designated to provide equipment. And then you ask, what is TCP/IP? Great question. Here's the importance of it. TCP/IP only connects networks on a data level. You can double spend packets. Send the same packet to more than one destination at once. But what about connecting networks where someone can send value across the networks, for example, from Bitcoin to Ethereum, or even Swift payment networks to Ripple's XRP network? In such cases, the token is intended to be able to go one destination at a time. And it says this is the essence behind the Interledger Protocol. And there's another thing here that talks a little bit about this right here. Let me just zoom in. Furthermore, it is crucial to develop a value protocol as an equivalent to the Internet Protocol. This value protocol needs to set common standards for the processing of transactions across a broad range of technology and governance choices. The new ISO 20022 standard is quickly becoming a contender to be the value protocol of the payments future. And it talks about where TCP/IP came from. First published in 1974 by Vint Kelf and Bob Kahn. The suite of protocols ensures that two different computers connected to the internet have the same way of finding one another and exchanging application level information. So that's where it came from. I just thought that was pretty cool information to have. It says we now all will use one network protocol, TCP/IP, once it's required, only using using only one makes complete sense. Personally, I believe the same applies to digital assets. Interledger and XRP are at the forefront runners to be TCP/IP equivalent to the world's fintech. At this point, no one can compete with XRP Ledger's technical spec and performance of the consensus algorithm. All right, that was a lot to say. Let's keep it going. Testing for SWIFT standards release completed by November 2023. This is just another document. Euronext Securities. This is the date, right? They're doing all their testing. It needs to be done by November 10th, and they plan to move with SWIFT on the 19th. ODL ICI Bank. So this is another partner. While SADAD or SADAD utilizes Ripple's on-demand liquidity product to implement several of its services, including making cross-border remittances to the UAE exchange and leading private sector bank in India, ICIC Bank, the latest partnership may not involve Ripple. So just a lot of stuff happening. Medico wants to congratulate DZ Bank. We talked about this a little bit. Institutional digital asset custody powered by Medico. Ripple partnered with this company because they didn't feel kind of like I know a lot of us are like Ripple and Polysign. Polysign's kind of doing something different. So Ripple went out and bought Medico so they could have digital asset custody. So now Ripple was finding that banks were saying, hey, we want to be able to custody these assets. Do you have a solution? And Ripple went out and partnered with Medico. So that's another great thing. Let me just go over this real quick. And mortgage demand is down 50% from pre-pandemic levels at the lowest level since 1994. From its peak in 2021, mortgage demand is down 64%. Current mortgages demand is down 75% below 2005 peak. The most incredible part about this, mortgage rates are still only the historical average. Housing market actively is coming to a halt. So you always have a lag effect in the economy with this. The reason this is a big deal is because if you're not creating new loans, whether they're home loans, student loans, I don't know what that was. If you're not creating new loans out in the market, you're not creating new money into the economy. And that is really going to hurt banks. Banks make money on interest. If they don't have loans going on, they're not collecting that value, as well as banks are getting killed in the bond market. So this is not good, right? This is lowest level since 1990 here, right? 1992. This is actually worse than the pandemic, as well as worse than 2008. So we're going to have to see how this hits the U.S. economy. Obviously, when you're looking at the global economy, if people in the United States don't have money to spend out in the economy, buying things from other places like the UK, like China, like Japan, that is going to hit all markets. The 10-year note yield is down 50 basis points in 5 days. This marks the largest 5-day move in Treasury yield since March 2023. After the Fed kept rates unchanged, the jobs report came in weaker than expected. Bonds are seeing some relief. Also, the U.S. Treasury announcement to borrow short-dated treasuries helped lower the long-term rates. We also continue to see historic moves in both directions of the bond market. So, gotta pay attention to this, guys. Gotta pay attention. Look at this dip. Huge dip. All right. You also have U.S. economy adds 150,000 jobs in October, below expectations of 180,000. The unemployment rate rose to 3.9%, above expectations of 3.8%. This means the U.S. economy has now added jobs for 34 consecutive months, which is really good. And I also had a clip from Judy Shelton here, who's talking about the economy. Oh, I kind of moved it up. Hold on. Here she is. Let me just play this for you.
With
and
a couple
then
of
I'll
wars
questions.
going on, they don't want to be the problem. So they're usually pretty accommodative, which just makes it worse for inflation.
Well, that's right. And, the narrative has gotten a little bit stale about whether the Fed is going to raise 25 basis points this year or next year or never. And that's why in that piece for the Journal, I wanted to point out that the changes in the way the Federal Reserve impacts financial markets and economic performance, the ones that have a dramatic impact are the ones that you don't see coming. It's really when the Fed does have to respond to shocks. There's an interesting research study that's posted on the St. Louis Federal Reserve website, and it talks about the Fed responding to major wars going back to the Civil War, and it even compares the federal government's response and the central bank's response to COVID in terms of responding to a war, because it was a war on COVID. And what always happens, as you said, there's a sharp increase in government spending. There's substantial monetary accommodation of that, and that results in inflation. Inflation has been associated with every major war the United States has experienced. But that becomes a secondary concern. The big concern is that, for instance, under COVID, in March of 2020, you would think that everyone would pile into treasuries and the rate would come down as a safe haven asset. No, they started dumping treasuries, especially Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates and China. And what they really wanted was cash. That was the ultimate safe haven. So the Fed suddenly, within a week, saw a 64 basis point difference in yields, and ended up, for the first quarter of 2020, having to buy $1 trillion in Treasury securities.
Damn.
And that was more than it had to buy in any of the QE1, QE2, or QE3. And so those are the things that really impact monetary policy going forward, because when the Fed has to do these gigantic things, the real trade craft, I think, in monetary policy is how quickly can you go back to normalizing. And that seems to be the difficult part for the Fed.
All right, guys. Does anyone have any questions before we ended today? I didn't have a super long chat because I do need to go pick up my dad at the airport. Oh, you know what? I have 3 more things I wanted to talk to you about real quickly. Further evidence coming from the Caribbean that states that Ripple's product XRP is not a cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is not legal tender. The source for stating this comes from the Bank of England. Let me just show you this. The bulletin recognizes Bitcoin as the first cryptocurrency and cites Ripple as an example of digital currency that is not a cryptocurrency because of its uses as non-cryptographic consensus method. Excuse me. I also wanted to show you this. This is actually pretty interesting. The only way you can imagine a global crypto asset GSC becoming big is if you totally align with regulators, because you have gaps, holes, and different things. Let me just go ahead and play this real quick.
I think this is an issue in which the only way you could imagine to let a truly global crypto assets becoming big is if you have a total alignment of regulations. Because if you have gaps, holes, misalignments, then in all these pockets, risk can build up. And it's not so much about the owner or the issuer of the crypto asset in question. And as I said in my speech, I mean, even if, say, Libra doesn't want to take deposit on grants loans, how can you prevent somebody else to do it? And if you cannot prevent somebody else to do it, how do you regulate that? Knowing that you can do it virtually from whenever in the world to wherever in the world. So these are the types of questions we need to resolve.
And this is a clip from Mr. Man, guys. If you're not following Mr. Man, please go do it. He puts out so much great information. I had the pleasure of speaking with him maybe several weeks ago. We had a great conversation. He's actually in the chat too. So, you know, I can't do this without people like him. He's truly incredible as far as how much information he's able to put online to help us better understand what's going on around us. So big shout out to him. And I wanted to thank everybody who showed up today. We broke 100, but we didn't quite get to the 108 level. So maybe next week, we can try to bust out and get this all new time high for people watching at the same time. It's been an honor to go through this chat with you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you want a little update on what we went through, we talked about some different wins in the Cryptonairz community. We talked about a bunch of Ripple and XRP news. The Dubai deal is pretty big, the DIFC deal. We also talked about a little bit about Sam Bankman, a little bit about XDC, a little bit about Casper, IBM, XDC. There's a lot of great value in this chat if you want to go back and start it from the beginning. If you missed it, I do appreciate you. I hope you all have a very blessed weekend. I love you all, and I will see you next time on Sensei Chat. Take care, guys, and thank you for all your support. Much love. Bye.